My name is Nathan Mott from We Teach League, and this is my Challenger versus Emerald series, where we bring on a guest, an expert in a particular champion, and compare their game in high-elo with that of an Emerald player. Today's guest is a returning one in Coach Chippys, a former professional player, current full-time League of Legends coach and YouTube content creator, and we're going to be talking about the new champion, Zaahen. In this video, you're going to learn how to play out your lane phase, mid-game, team fighting, but most importantly, your mindset to how do I win games, how do I actually kill the Nexus on this champion consistently. Let's get straight into the video with Coach Chippys. All right, Chippys, let's start off with your interpretation currently with Zaahen's build. Let's start off with, I guess, items, or do you think runes are more important? What should we start with?
Let's do it with runes because it's a bit simpler. So the best rune page on Zaahen's, of course, going to be Conqueror. Champion uses AD really well. You mainly want to play for extended trades later on. A lot of the weird thing about Zaahen is in lane, you pretty much only play for short trades. I've almost never seen Zaahen stack that passive 1 to 5, 1 to 6. It's always later on. So Grasp is a bit better for lane, but you just lose so much damage in team fights and skirmishes if you take Grasp. I'm not a big fan of it. It's going to be more like that thing with Aatrox, where in pro games you see a lot of players take Aatrox with Grasp, but in solo queue it's pretty much always Conqueror or Electrocute or something. It's going to be like that. It's going to be pro players will take Grasp, but solo queue Conqueror is going to be better. So you go Conqueror with always Triumph. I found that Absorb Life's not really worth it. And then Alacrity, you can do Haste, but the champ uses attack speed quite well, but can't really build it that well. So Alacrity, and then Last Stand, of course, really good on this champ. And then secondary runes, I think is always Resolve. You could take Inspiration if you want, but I found Second Wind or Bone Plating. Bone Plating into our Jaxes, our sets, and Second Wind to everything else. And then Revitalize is really good. You can be more greedy and take Overgrowth if you want, but I like Revitalize because it heals around 300 to 400 per laning phase, which is quite a lot, as you can imagine. And then in team fights as well, you really feel it with your ulti as well.
So you think this is just like mandatory, this rune? Like, do you mainly go the Resolve tree for Revitalize? Like, would you go any other trees, like Domination secondary or anything?
It's not like you'd go just for that. It's for that and Second Wind combination, because this champ's actually surprisingly weak in early lane. It's not a champion where you'd want to take triple tonic like a Olaf or something, or an Irelia and try to kill someone level 3. He doesn't really play like that. So you could take Inspiration if you wanted to scale with like Cashback and Cosmic Insight or something, but I found the best scaling in the game is always winning your lane, so giving yourself that extra power, Second Wind, Bone Plating, way better. And then Second Wind combined with Revitalize gives you a lot of laning power.
And do you like double adaptive, no attack speed? Is that because you have so much inherent attack speed already in your kit, you just hit double adaptive, you don't take attack speed here?
When I go the Grass page, I'll go attack speed because you don't really get any. But with Alacrity, you can be a little bit greedier with double adaptive. So double adaptive is better for your trade patterns. It's a lot of short trading around your spells, but attack speed's a little bit better for farming under tower and wave control. So I'd say it's personal preference, what people want to go. Kind of similar to Camille, where you can do both.
So looking at your OPGG here now, Chippy, so the games where you did go Grasp, you were just these two games, were you testing? Like, so was it just a testing thing?
I've watched a lot of it and then tested it only a few times, and I'm just not a fan. You just miss out on so much team fighting raw power. So I just prefer to go Conqueror. But I could definitely see in competitive or maybe high chow games or something, you'd need that extra laning power. But I don't think it's worth it because it's not like you take Grasp and nice, now I'm going to beat Rumble or some broken champ in lane. It's not really like that. I don't think it's worth it personally, unless again you're in those kind of competitive settings.
Okay, that's runes. So let's go to this game where looks like you popped off. We'll look at this build first. Triforce, looks like you're going to Triforce. Is Triforce just like the best on this champ? You actually went Stridebreaker in this game though, actually.
Yeah.
Is that because you're against heavy ranged?
So easy rule we can follow, Stridebreaker into range top, Triforce into everything else. There is a Bruiser build with Sundered Sky first, which might be more of a competitive style build. Kind of similar to Aatrox. Grasp with Sundered Sky. You might see that a lot in competitive, and you can do it in games where you just want to purely team fight. But I found it a little bit difficult to stack your passive without Triforce. The movement speed, the haste, attack speed, everything you'd want. So Triforce will be the standard build for sure. And then Stridebreaker every time you verse like a Teemo or a Kennen, something like that.
And it looks like it's always Sundered Sky second.
You could do Shojin into heavy range, but I just found this champion, you mainly want to be building survivability and ability haste. So you get a lot of that from Sundered Sky. which is definitely the best 2 core. Of course, if you verse like a Yasuo top with Tristan 80 carry, like super crit, you could do Randuins or something. But yeah, Sundered Sky will be the default.
Okay, looks like some more Marmortius in here. Is that
Yep.
just...
Yeah, so typically you want to build items that give AD and survivability like Camille. You don't really build like a Kana Grookon on her. It's mainly more or Death Stance for armor. Again, there are exceptions. You can see a Spirit Visage there because I have a lot of healing in my kit and I have a Seraphine as well. So if you have Soraka, Ivern, Seraphine, any type of enchanter, Visage does feel quite good in this champ because you still have, I wouldn't say it's like Warwick level of healing, but you've got your Q, you've got your ulti. You definitely feel when you got Visage as well.
Okay, Death's Dance. Looks like you went build this second, actually, this game.
Full, yeah,
Why
full
Death's
AD
Dance
comp.
second? Because
Full
you're
AD
full AD
comp,
comp. Yeah, okay.
yeah, so it's not like Zaahen specific, but you know the rule. If they've got full AP, just build MR. Full AD, just build armor. So that's kind of the case here.
Okay, looks pretty simple. Let's look at what the general community is currently building on Zaahen here, and let's get your thoughts on it. So, yeah,
All right.
looks like majority of people Triforce. This probably sums up. Some people going the Sundered Sky item first, about 10% of people. But this probably lines up. Maybe 21% of games Stridebreaker.
Yep. Yeah. So trying to because the main counter to this champ is range top, so it doesn't really beat any range top laner in lane. So if you blind pick this champ, which you have to because it gets banned if you don't, or taken if you don't take it early, you're probably going to miss some annoying range top. So that explains a lot of Stridebreaker. It's more than you'd want to build, but you know you just have to sometimes. And then yeah, the Sundered Sky is like a default. I only want a team fight type of build. One thing I want to touch on that you see this Black Cleaver. I'm a big hater of that on this champ. It's kind of similar to Darius. You get a ton of armor pin for free in your ulti, so you don't need to build it. Like sure, if you verse Cassante, Sejuani top jungle, you can. But other than that, just stay away from this disgusting item.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like most people actually not building it, so it looks like they agree with you. I mean, people were sneaking it in second item a little bit.
Trying to.
Yeah, trying to, but because that's like the go-to thing. Like, you know, I play a lot of like Jarvan and stuff, and like, you know, Pantheon, and that's always just like, you know, you get your 2 item spike. You know, it's like your Sundered Sky Black Cleaver, but I guess you're a little bit different because you have the armor pen already with Zaahen. Is that the idea?
Yeah, you get 30% from the ulti. So same as Darius, you don't build armor pin. Same as Mordekaiser, you don't build magic pin. It's the same, and Messer as well. Same reasoning for them.
Makes sense. Okay, so yeah, it looks like this is all self-explanatory. Our third item, a lot of people going Death's Dance.
Yep.
There was not many Spirit Visage, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, definitely. It's only in games where you have also, you know, enchanters on your team. So you're not going to have that every day. More is just the standard MR item. Death Stance is a standard armor item. And then you can go between Sterak's or the Blood Mail. Blood Mail is more of a full damage item, but I've been leaning away from it recently because you mainly level 16 3 items. Everyone does a lot of damage, so survivability is a bit more important.
Let's look at your OPGG here. I'm just curious about the Sterak's. I don't think I saw any Sterak's, really. What's your view on Sterak's?
Yeah, because in most games, especially in Korean solo queue, it's ending around 3 items or earlier. So my third item is mainly Death Stance. So I don't really have time to get a Sterak's if I wanted one.
Okay, so that would typically be like your fourth item most of the time, if you were going to get to that stage of the game.
Or if they had a ton of CC, you know, a Mumu Leona, something crazy. You just want a bit of extra tenacity, can be good. Or like versus some specific champs like Garen, where the ulti's just going to one-shot you, need that shield. It can be a good option there too.
My last question for the builds here is Guardian Angel. What's your view on this item for this champion? You obviously already have the Revive in your kit.
Yeah, I'd only build as a last item because it takes 4 seconds to come out. So it's really easy for them to kite out your passive stacks and stuff like that. But it can be good as a final item if you wanted one there.
All right. Any honorable mentions? Any things you've been cooking? Anything that you've sort of seen apart from, you know, the Sundered Sky first?
One thing I've been cooking is Triforce first, Stridebreaker second. It's similar to Jax in a way where on paper the Sundered Sky is the best second item, but this can be a kind of a solo queue bit more side lane power because Triforce and Stridebreaker you're very squishy, but you can stick onto people, run them down. Where that's kind of Zaahen's weakness. He sucks at running people down, so that builds sort of like Jax in a way where it's not strictly better than Sundered Sky's second, but it gives you some different options in the game.
Cool. Last thing, skill order. Do we optimize our skill order every game? Let's have a look here. E, Q, W, then max Q, then E, then W.
Normally it's Q start, but I went E start in this matchup to dodge the Cho'Gath Q. If you scroll up, I versed a Rise top. So in range matchups, I'll always go E. Some people do W, but I find E way better because it's unmissable compared to W and the cooldown shorter. So, E into range or E if you want to dodge something like a Cho'Gath Q or a Jax E, something like that. It can be quite good, but most of the time it's just Q. And if they touch a minion, you just slap them on the head with the Q extra range, that type of trade pattern.
Yeah, so this would be what a typical standard game would
Yeah.
look like.
Yep,
If
that's
you're
the
not
normal.
against range champions.
Yep,
Or
exactly.
sorry, champions that you need to like dodge. Yeah,
Or
enemies.
or a range temp. Versus a Jace or something. E auto click back would do a lot of work. Where Q you can't actually reach him.
All right, Chippies, let's now jump into the practice tool and let's talk about some combos with Zaahen.
Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to be going through a couple of standard Zaahen trading combos first before we move on to the team fighting one. So I'll go through the basics. Most important, both your Qs are auto resets, so you want to be doing that whenever you can. You really don't want to miss out on that damage. And for lane, because your E has range, your Q has range, you always want to be hitting them with the EQ, sort of like that, and clicking away. Even though Zaahen has his passive, you'd think in lane you play for long trades, like a Darius, but it's actually the opposite, because it's pretty unstackable early game. It just takes way too long. Darius is 5 stacks, yours is like 12, so you just want to go for little trades like this. A really important thing is to chain CC your Q2 with your W. So, for example, if you stack Q on a minion, and then you go in with like an EQ, that means your W becomes unmissable. And it's also chain CC, so they can't Fiora parry it, they can't dash out of it with Aatrox, whatever. So if you hit Q2, your W becomes unmissable. And same with the reverse. So sometimes what I'll do, because the Q stack is quite telegraphed, like Camille, sometimes what I'll do is I'll just EQW, and then you can auto Q2 while they're pulled in. It's really hard for them to do anything about that. There is a chance they dodge the W or you miss it or whatever, but it's very obvious, as you can imagine. If I stack Q and I'm just running at someone like this with the glowing spear, it's a lot easier for them to just space out. But yeah, chain CCing the Q2 and the W together, really important. And then weaving in autos, not just for damage, but for passive stacks as well.
Yeah, so can you talk about the Q2? So the Q, it's a little bit different. It's sort of like a Xin Zhao knock-up, but the Xin Zhao knock-up, you can't just choose whenever you do it. I mean, you sort of can, it's the third knock-up, right? So do you, because I saw the duration on your Q is very long.
Ages, yeah.
So how does that work? Do you want to extend it or do you want to use it early? Like, can you explain more about like how the Q works here?
Yeah, so the weird thing about it is the cooldown doesn't start until after it drops off. So you'll see even if I hold this the whole time, and same if it's Q2, whatever, the cooldown is fully started, but your Q1 also heals you. So that means you have to be very deliberate with what you want to go for. Either you can Q1, zone for ages. I still haven't got Q2 activated, by the way, for ages. Then press Q2, zone for even longer. So you can see it's really threatening to play against. But that means you're not getting Q for an extra like 5 or 8 seconds or however long it is. Yep. So you're getting less heals per minute. So it really depends what you want to go for. So in a situation like this, where I'm really healthy, I will just sort of pressure them like this, make them run away. And if they go near me, hit them with the EQW. But in a situation where I want to spam heal, sometimes I'll just Q the minion, or Q them straight away or a second minion so that my Q comes back up faster. So you have to have a lot of intention with the spell because it lasts a long time, which is very, very nice. You can also just auto before you press it, but you're delaying your own cooldown for a long time as well. So it really depends what you want to do.
Yeah, so I guess you could think about holding it in a way of like as like a Morgana Q or a Blitz Hook or whatever. You sort of want to hold it for your threat sometimes in situations. Again, you just have to be very intentional with it in these fights.
Exactly right. And a lot of things you can do similar to Camille is when you're approaching a team fight, you can stack it on anything, even far away you can see. Just imagine the fight's here. Now I can Q2 and you can just engage the fight with like a EQ2W type of thing. Really hard for them to play against. So you can stack on Scuttle, Crab, Fruit, anything.
So you said that you want to always combo your Q2, then your W, so you can guarantee hit it. So how hard is W to hit as just a single skill shot? Is it really hard?
Yeah, it's pretty slow. So you can see here, it's like a big telegraph wind-up. If we watch the hand, leans back, kind of like the Urgot thing. So if they have a dash like a Fiora Q, it's pretty much you're not going to hit it if if you're up against a good player. So it is quite tricky. Or if it's like a KO with Swifty boots, you're not going to hit it. So it's really important to chain CC it that way.
I see, it makes sense.
Another tip with the W is it pulls towards you, but it's not like a pike Q, where when you hit them, it instantly flies in. You'll see there's a bit of a delay. Wait a little bit, then pull. So what you can do is reposition yourself. So W and then dash through, and you can see it comes this way instead of towards me. So I can go up as well. You can sort of choose where you want them to go. So that can be good for running away. Let's say I wanted to go this way. I could, the wrong way. But yeah, you know what I mean? You can just reposition and just move them wherever you want to go, or wherever you want them to go.
So could you suck in like an entire team, 5 people, or is it
Yeah,
just...
you can. So
So
that's
you
really
can get like a
important.
5-man.
Yeah, in a team fight, you want to try WR like this, because you can see I can start the W animation before they get pulled in, but they're still going to get CC'd. So it makes it a lot harder for them to dodge. They can still flash it because the R takes a long time. But usually what I'll do in a fight is stack Q off something and then go for like a flash QWR, something like that, just to make it really hard for them to dodge the ulti.
So getting the damage on the R off is really important. Because I see a
Yeah.
lot of my games, Zaheens are really bad at the R. Is that because they just
Yeah.
don't land the W? Is that the idea?
Yeah, they're not chain CCing. A lot of Zaheens will just see champions and just do this, and you can imagine
They
these
just
two
do
could
that.
yeah, they could walk out of it.
I was like, this is so easy to dodge. It's not threatening
Yeah.
at all. So maybe that must be
Yeah.
a common thing. Like what you're doing here, like is not what I see current
Yeah.
Zahen players doing.
I always try to do a Q2 if I can, because the CC is a bit longer than the W. You can see is knocked up for ages. But if there's multiple people, you can W or even W flash R like this. It's quite good as well. One thing as well, in terms of that I didn't mention, is the E outer ring. So it's pretty easy to hit the spell, but it's really hard to max range hit the edge. Where compared to other champs with kind of similar things, like Darius Q, you're moving while you do your Q, right? So it's actually a lot easier to hit that, where this is a dash. So it's like once you could, of course, once you've committed it, you're locked into that. And it's easy to hit it, but if you want to hit them on the max range, so versus a champ like Camille, right, you'd want to hit her with an EQ without getting hit in response. So you have to be really, really kind of deliberate with where you Q. You can see how far away I was from that dummy there with this type of Q. It makes this type of E, and that's really hard to do against good opponents. So that's something I'm practicing a lot right now, that max range E. So you can see there I was too close, but then something like this, I think I was just, I was too shallow. So it's really important to min-max that if you're trying to get really good at this champ.
So that is same as like Lilia and Darius. So you have to hit them on the edge to do the max damage. Is that the...
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you don't want to be too close, so they hit you back. You don't want to be too far away that hit misses. So it's quite a hard edge to hit. Let's see.
So, anything else here before I ask my question?
Let's see. Yeah, we talked about W flash. I think, the most important things is just edging them with the E and the Q. Really important, chain CCing the Q2 and W, and then chain CCing any type of CC with your ulti. Those are probably the 3 most important if you want to practice this champ.
So you said that we were talking before that Top Lane Academy, you haven't really coached many Zaahen players just yet. What do you think players are going to struggle with the most with this champion?
I think the trade patterns in lane, because it's quite easy to teach a champ like Darius. You want long trades. If you take short trades, you're going to lose. Any long trade, you'll win. Same with like a Warwick. And then there's short trading champs like a Gangplank or something, or like a Jace. You want to stay healthy and poke them down and not take any damage. There's really clear reference points. But Zaahen, not only is it matchup specific, but it also changes. There's just random timings like, okay, 1 to 5 only take short trades. Now level 7 randomly, you want to go for long trades, right? It's like there's a lot of variables there, because his passive makes him a good long trading champ, but because it's so hard to stack it, it means you want to play for short trades at certain moments and long trades at other moments. So it can be very hard in that way.
Yeah, because like when this champion was first released, I instantly thought it was like an Aurelia, but you're telling me not really.
Yeah, he's like a Darius that's weak early game. So the best way to describe it is like Darius is a good example, where any game where you're playing Darius or Zaahen and you versus melees that come into you, you're really strong, right? You're Thanos, and versus heavy range, you're really weak. But the difference is Darius is really good early game, and then really kind of weak in the middle, and then really good level 16 3 items. Zaahen is weak early game, but then really broken in the mid game. Like that 1 to 2 item spike, if you're not behind, he's really, really strong. So it's kind of similar in that way. But yeah, for lane, it's mainly playing for the short trades like this, EQing, like EQW, click backwards, that type of thing. Nice short trades, butter them up, and then kill them when they're low. But at one item, you can flip the switch and go for all-ins, or even some matchups at level 6 or 7.
Is there any common narratives you've seen already in the community or maybe the Discord about this champion? Because I know that the word on the street was that this is like Zaahen was like one of the most broken releases ever Riot has done. Obviously, they've toned it a little bit back, but what have you sort of seen people's conversation based on your experience playing over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I definitely think they're overrating his laning power. He's actually pretty weak in lane. You'll lose to any champion with a range advantage, pretty much. And then even most melees can just stat check you 1 to 5. Even champs like Garen and Set and Darius, all them, they can just beat you up 1 to 5. So he's relatively weak in lane. But yeah, that's why I think a lot of people they think he's broken because he scales really well. He's a mess, like really strong team fighter, but you got to punish him in lane.
And you said that range champions getting kited is a big issue,
Yeah.
specifically Stridebreaker. So, you know, I mean, maybe we'll look at it into your gameplay, but I just want to ask now is like, in terms of like you said he's a really good team fighting champion. But
Yeah.
like when I think of a good team fighting champion, I think about a champion that, you know, Mel fight, like a good engage. So what makes him good at team fighting, you know, necessarily? Like I feel like it's like, you know, I think of like Aatrox can be, like Aatrox is sort of a team fighting champion, but Aatrox also just seems useless in some team fights. So
Yeah.
explain to me why you're so big on this champ as a good team fight champ.
Definitely. So one thing I really like about the champ's design, if you think about most bruisers, their ulti just makes them on steroids a little bit, right? Like Aatrox, you get stronger, Renekton stronger, all that stuff, or it's single target, like an Ambessa or something. But Zahen's got this big, massive AoE ulti, and it does a ton of damage. It's just so much damage. So let's say I'm level 18 here, and my build would be something like this with Death Stance. You can see 850 without my passive, which gives you a ton of AD, and without Conqueror. So if I stack up my passive and Conqueror, so you kind of like a Darius, you just hit the front line. So if their Nautilus goes in, all it takes is one Bozo on the enemy team. If their Nautilus goes in, if anyone goes in and you get half or full stacks, then you can see 1329 ulti on the damage. So it's just pretty insane that way.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot of damage.
yeah, a lot of people struggle with this champ because they try to engage or they try to chase people or dive people. Your champ is the worst in the game at chasing, at diving, at all that stuff. If they come to you, even just one Bozo on the enemy team, one guy comes to you and you can stack off them and then go in later on for a fat tactical nuke like this. And then even if you don't kill anyone, you chunk them, you revive, you buy a ton of time. So as long as you team fight the right way, you can just buy so much space and time and just nuke their whole team.
So from a practicality standpoint, obviously there's that revive at 12 stacks, right? So you can only get it from hitting champions. It's from auto attacks and abilities, right?
Yep,
auto
attacks and abilities.
How do you actively, like, practically look at your stacks on your, you know, obviously it's underneath your character, but also, like, do you look at it, or is it just, like, intuitive? You know, do you think about the revive? Do you think about getting the 12 stacks? Or the revive thing is just, like, it's just going to happen because you're fighting well?
Yeah, I look at it. So let's say that example before an Alistair goes in, I'll try to stack off them a bit at the start before going in. Normally around 60%, 70 like this is quite good. But AoE spells will stack multiple stacks if you have multiple people. So you can see I'll get 2 more from hitting these
more.
2. Yeah, so if you hit like a 2-man, even like a 2-man WEL team, you get a lot of stacks really quickly.
Wow. So you've got the revive from that straight away. That's the revive.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I had a couple of stacks earlier, but you can just see if you hit 2 people with like a, you know, EQWR, and I don't do anything from here, pretty much full, right? And then auto Q2. So you can get it pretty quick if you're fighting multiple people. And so in a teamfighter skirmish, 1v1, really hard before first item.
And will you think about the revive? Obviously, the revive has a cooldown, right? I think early game is 5 minutes, then it goes down to 2 minutes. Is that right?
It gets so short, yeah. So late game, you don't even care about the cooldown at all. You just fully send it. Yeah, it's not like in a Nivea where you want to be careful or something. You just fully send it later. So a thing about this champ you have to get used to is when they dogpile you, it's not running away. You run forward because you just buy so much time with that revive, and your E, your ulti, all the damage gets so insane when you have it. So you can see that was 330 before. And if I stack this up again, it goes up to 560. So you can just see the damage difference is massive. This includes Conquer as well. With Grasp, it'll be a lot lower, which is why I like Conquer so much. But yeah, you can kind of imagine. And then if you're low with Last Stand, even more. So it just gets really insane.
Okay, Chippys. Well, let's look at all this in action. Let's look at one of your games in Grandmaster, I guess, on the Korean server.
Let's do it.
If you're serious about ranked and improving, we have our free community of almost 10,000 members. In there, you'll find everything from tier lists, courses on mindset for solo queue, how to climb the ladder, how to build your champion pool. Link in the description below. Let's head back to Zaahen with Coach Chippys. Okay, so I want to first talk about champ select and draft, like what you're thinking. Like, obviously, you were playing, you know, Zaahen just to learn it, you know, make the guides, all that for the TLA and your YouTube. What do you think Zahen's a blind pickable champion? Do you think the champion's just in a good state right now? Where do you sort of see, how do you think about Zaahen when it comes to draft?
Yep, so Zaahen similar to Darius or Gwen, where the more melee champs you verse, the more OP you are. So if you verse a bunch of tanky meatballs, like let's say Silas mid, Jarvan jungle, and just some tank top, your champ will be completely OP. But if you verse a bunch of range champs, like you might saw in the OPGG in the most recent game, verse like Rise, Graves, Karma, like full range actually, your champ gets very hard to play. So he's definitely a more melee, the more OP you are. But I'd still call him a decent blind pick because as long as you don't get behind, if you just mainly play for farm, punishing them, staying good in XP, 1 to 2 items, you're still going to be strong. The way your impact in the game will be lower if you verse more range champs, but yeah, he's definitely still a really solid champ overall.
So this looks like a really spicy game, right? You're against
Mm.
three, range champions. And Nivea's support, I don't know what you're seeing, but it's been driving me crazy recently. Like this
Yeah.
champion I feel so good right now, Nivea. But yeah, three range champs. These champs, you'd say, you're not excited to see these champs, but obviously these champs you're fine into.
Yeah, as long as the top jungle's melee, I'm pretty happy with it. The worst is like, let's say the comp I'm versing now, but I'm versing a range top. It's like really, really hard. But as long as I have 2 melees top jungle, I'm pretty happy either way. You just need 1 or 2 champs to stack your passive off, really.
Okay, so talk to me about the Doran's Blade start. You actually changed your mind this game to Doran's. We actually didn't talk about that as all. So it looks like you actually,
Mm.
some games you do go Doran's Shield. What's the idea between Doran's Blade versus Doran's Shield?
Doran's Blade's basically just for greedy pigs, and here I wanted to be greedy, but versus Cho'Gath, I just think he has too much poke. Normally I'd go D-Blade into matchups that can't poke you at all, like Darius or something like that. But yeah, typically D-Shield's just a standard because your champ's quite weak 1 to 5.
So
So,
you're also looking to minimize in the early. Is that sort of like, going to your reference points? That was my next question. It's like, so you're really trying to not really solo kill your opponent. You're sort of more so looking to just get to those item spikes.
yeah, so you can get level 6, level 7, and you're even or a bit ahead. It feels really good. Every game, not every game, but a lot of games where I tried to overforce against, good champions like Rumble or Ambessa or something, Jace or something, it does feel quite bad because getting behind on this champ, you feel terrible, kind of like a Sid or a Darius. So normally you minimize early, but it's like every top lane. There's good matchups, there's bad ones, and I'd say Cho'Gath this game is a pretty good matchup. So I was looking to play really aggressive this game in particular. But normally when I verse a broken champ, meta champion, like a Riven or a Rumble or something, I would play quite reserved.
Okay, so now you're saying that, when you want to be aggressive here, I'm going to be really looking, I guess, at your trading patterns to sort of see what does an aggressive lane phase look like with this champion.
Definitely, yeah. So against Cho'Gath, so normally I'd go Q start, but I saw he started his Q as well. So I went for an E start, sort of hoping he would Q me and the minions. I'd dodge it forward and hit him at the same time. When you're trying to learn a new champ, it's good to get a bit creative like that. So here you can see I didn't want to E forward and just tank a bunch of minions, tank him. So I was being a little bit more reserved, like we said before, where maybe on a more aggressive champ, I'll just jump on his head. So trying to play it safe. You can see there's the max range E I was talking about. I didn't give him range to auto attack me back. I was still able to hit the E myself. But without Q, it's pretty hard to, greed an E auto because the Q range is way longer. But there I did it. So you can kind of see my goal here. Max range E's into autos.
It's like a poke champ. It's really cool. It's really interesting.
Yeah. So you mainly just play for short trade poking early game. So another one, you can see E click backwards. But here I see my Conqueror was on 10. That's why I ran at him. So even though you're a short trade champ, if your Conqueror and your passive starts to ramp up, you saw us in the yellow before, you can flip the switch a little bit and get greedy. So there you can see I'm sort of hunting for him, clicking back and wiggling around, trying to make him come at me so I can get an EQ. So really trying to make it come, just dancing around. The top lane special. Just both dancing until someone steps out of position. And there, EQ. Auto Q2. Try to cut out the PTA. So you can kind of see I'm actually not that strong. Cho'Gath's probably one of the weaker matchups you'll verse, and even then I kind of got beat up a bit. So it's definitely a champ that you don't want to play too crazy early game. So I went for the EW. You can see just dodged it to the side. I could have aimed that one better, but you can kind of see it's quite slow. It's quite easy to dodge. So it's quite hard if you don't change the set off Q2. So 3-wave crash. I wanted the wave to come back out here. Let the wave settle. And yeah, discarding, you can see I stack my Q on the minion. So I can go EQ2W. There's the combo we talked about. Flash that and get his flash. So yeah, the combo just there. That's going to be a really standard combo on this champ. EQ2W, undodgeable, and you can weave in an auto as well.
Yeah, let's look at that here.
Yeah,
So,
stack Q
you
off the
stack you
minion.
off the minion. Yep.
EQ2W, click back auto. So yeah, you can see, especially when I'm learning a champ, and this is the first time I played the Cho'Gath matchup, I always play it super aggressive to just really feel out the limits of the matchup. I recommend that for anyone as well. So you can see I'm pushing it a bit harder than I would if I, already had this champ solidly locked into my pool and had played this matchup before. So guarding the minion, you can see going for the max range E, just missed that one there. But you see the intention. Now you'll see I'm queuing permanently off the wave to just keep getting little bits of HP back from Q1 and Revitalize. So go for the W, click back to give Lee Sin a jump. I mean, as a jungler, you like seeing that, me giving him a little hop there. But yeah,
Beautiful.
Nice free kill.
So can you explain that more? So you think about the healing. You said that about a lane phase, you get about 500 HP from Revitalize, which makes it really good. So if you keep your Q, like you don't use the knock up, you get more healing. Is that the idea?
Nah, so if you don't use the knock up, the cooldown takes longer to come back up. So I probably should have used it a little bit earlier here, but I was being greedy hunting for an EQ2 onto him. But a Q1 heals you. So sometimes it's good just to spam Q1 on the wave whenever it's up, because he was playing really respectful there. So I can't Q1 him anyway. So that's why I was just committing Q1 onto the wave, just to get little chunks of HP back.
To heal it. Okay, got it. So you do think about the healing and the sustain from your Q1.
Yeah, but you get a bit more from hitting them. So, of course, if you can hit them with it, hit them. But, when your opponent's behind and they're respecting sitting 2 screens away, just queue off the wave whenever you can. Just keep healing up. So TP back, auto Q. So I'm waiting for the Q2 before I W to chain CC it there. And you'll see there I moved away from his tower after the W to pull him away from his tower. So the W, you can hit them and be next to the tower, but you can just start walking as it hits them to reposition. So good trade there. So yeah, you can see every time I've chained CC'd Q2 off W or W off Q2, it's been a really, really good trade.
Yeah, so it's hard winning trades. It's like not even close.
Then we just go for the dive here. It's all right, I got Triumph, no problem. It's a really good position now. So this was definitely a game my enemy top laner, those games where they get a bit upset and start having a tough one. But the rest of his team did quite well. So I thought it would showcase a good example of the power of this champion. Because, top laners, we hate when our bot lane goes 0-5 while we're winning. So this would be a good example of how you can carry those.
Yeah, and what it looks like, I guess, to close out a game when you have a good early game with this champ.
Exactly right. This is definitely a champ where your baseline is not really a champ where you should be playing super volatile and like an Ignite PTA Fiora fed some games behind the oven. I'd say it's good to have a stable baseline on this champ. Like a 0-0 is your default with good CS and all that. And then, of course, getting leads in the easier matchups.
Yeah, that's really, I think about, I guess, Urgot's maybe a bad analogy because Urgot's really strong in the early game. But he does have that big drop off if you don't get a solo kill, up to like level 9 or whatever until, first item. So you're saying basically you should be very comfortable going 0-0-0 in laning phase.
Definitely, yeah. Urgot's actually a great example. I remember Quante was saying if you get level 9 Black Cleaver on Urgot, you just beat up everyone. So Zaahen's kind of similar. Like even as common counter matchups like Jax, if you're even with Triforce level 9, you can start to fight back pretty well. So one thing there I didn't touch on in the training tool, because the training dummies don't CC you, is buffering your R through CC is one of the most important parts of this champion. I pretty much always try to wait for someone to CC me before ulting. That's why I'm not ulting this guy now. I want him to Q me first. No, see, you don't get hit by the knockup. That's really, really impactful, especially in a team fight. If you can do it just as you get hooked by anything, or even like Lissandra ulti, stuff like that, you can buffer that ulti through. Really impactful. I'd say one of the most important parts of team fighting is if you can tank CC off their team and buffer your ulti through it.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed when I'm playing against Zaahen. Zaahen's the most annoying because he just buys so much time. Dodging abilities, the revive, the healing. That's what I'm like, this champion's just buying too much time and space in fights. It's really annoying. So that seems like it's a big strength of the champ, which is, again, why it's a good team fighting champion. Now it's started to click with me because you're good at buying time. You're not like the Malphite engage, but people are going to go on you. You're the melee champion, and you're very good at surviving and doing a shitload of damage.
Yep, make a lot of space, buy a lot of time, exactly. And this is why in a lot of matchups, the 1 to 5 is not that great, but 6 onwards gets better. Jax is a really good example, because if he jumps on you with Q and stun, level 3, your head's going to get bashed off. But if he does that at 6, you can buffer your ulti through his stun. And even if you don't die, you can kind of avoid the whole Jax E duration, you get rid of the stun, and you chunk him really low. So versus champs that are very CC reliant in their trade patterns, if you buffer ulti through it, it really changes the matchup. So yeah, just playing for the dive. You can see, just don't let him touch the wave. So every time he walks up, go for the E. So you can see even here, even versus Cho'Gath, champ with no movement speed, I've missed quite a few E's because I'm always aiming to get like the max range duration one. Because I don't like just, just going for the basic E that's going to hit. I'm always trying to max range it. But sometimes that means you do miss it. So good kill. Greed here. We're going to skip past the plates and the farming. I think we get Triforce here.
We have Triforce.
Yeah, so this is your first... Oh, no, not quite. Never mind. No. Later on. Too poor. But yeah, if you get level 9 Triforce and you're even or ahead, you're so strong on this champ. That's why I really like just having that consistent baseline.
So you're looking to hold the wave now, and he has zoned the Cho'Gath from experience?
Yep, just make him walk up so I can at least chunk him one time. But I'm probably just going to go for the full kill here. So you can see I'm sort of kiting around. I'm not just right-click bashing them down, like an Olaf or an Irelia would do. I'm sort of weaving in and out. If we go back to this all-in, it's not only to dodge skill shots, but you're pretty cooldown reliant, so auto-Q click backwards, you'll see, and just sort of kiting back and forwards, go back in here. So it's important to have that playstyle. Similar to Darius, the really good Darius one-tricks when I verse them, they're amazing at spacing. They're kiting you in and out, still in that range to keep up their stacks going, but they don't just run you into the dirt by right-clicking you. You have to weave in and out. A little bit elegant.
Yeah, I can already see like the mistake for a lot of Zaahen players would be like, oh, like, especially, they're going Conqueror, I got to stack up my passes to 12. They're just going to have extended trades. And this is like this whole lane phase. There's not really any of that going. I can see your mindset. It's just like, the going for the E, going for the, knock up QW, back off, wait for your next E. It's, as you said, very elegant sort of gameplay with this champion. It's not just like that dumb, just run at them Olaf mode,
Yep. So yeah, I'd say this champion, you mainly play for short trades, and you see I flipped the switch level 7, level 9-ish. I started to go for long. That's partly because I'm ahead. Yeah, of course, if you're even versus Darius, you probably can't just long trade him, but it gets a bit easier to stack it up later on when you get a bit more haste and stuff like that.
Okay, we're going to try 4 spikes. So this is where you feel quite strong right now.
Yeah, really strong. If you're not behind at this point, you can see I got a 10-minute Triforce, so you can just one-shot anything. And it's really hard. You can see the damage here. It just gets really insane. And I buffered Q2 there through the ulti, through the Q. So you can buffer pretty much all your spells. You can buffer W, Q, ulti, everything. So really important champ to learn that buffering skill on. And you saw in that fight I just did, I always try to ulti at the very end, after you've got passive, after you've got Conqueror stacked up, just to get the most damage possible.
So you don't want to start fights with R typically.
Yeah, of course, if your Rakan gets a 4-man knockup, sure, just dump ulti onto the head. But yeah, typically the average fight where your teammates aren't just carrying all the boats, you want to use it pretty late.
All right, so we're in mid-game now here. Your bot lane's on 1 tower plate. Looks like we're going to get first tower here. I'm a big fan of getting first tower as a jungler in my game, playing around my win condition, which looks like was top side for the Lee Sin.
My Seraphine's a big fan of it too, taking half my gold. we'll let it slide. So here, you can see, I think mid was struggling a bit too this game. Just mainly...
So dragons, are you looking to recall and play for dragon here?
So Zaahen, you mainly play for fighting every objective, like an Aatrox, like an Ambessa. You really want to fight these, but you want to be flexible too, especially with the Triforce build. You can play that balance. So I want to go top first and create pressure. I'm looking to TP. You can see my camera panning. I really want to TP if it looks good. But I want to create that top pressure, make them react, put pressure on the tier 2 first. But here they're just going too crazy, so I TP'd in.
Do you consider your ult here? It's not your ult's not up here. Do you think how important is your ult for fighting in these
really important
fights?
That's why I really didn't want to TP here, but I knew my team wouldn't really get one shot, and they're fully committing here. So I thought it would be a possible fight. So I go in here and just, they TP'd in as well though. They matched the TP, my Sivir tried to flank, and it just got very awkward. So this was my biggest mistake of the game here. I should have just committed to top, not joined here, let 1 or 2 people die. So I really regret this here. So normally in a situation like that, where you're not sure, it's good to default to your champ's identity. And my identity is fighting this dragon. But exactly what you mentioned. I don't have ulti here. I haven't really created much top pressure yet. Here we go, big, just the Lee syndrome. When you see a 4-man ulti, just too tempting to go for it. But yeah, it's 1v4, so not really worth it. So this was definitely my biggest mistake. I fell back to the champ identity. But there would have just been way better to go back top because, like you said, no ulti and the fight just looked a little bit ugly.
What about flash? How important is flash in your kit?
Flash is quite nice for doing the flash Q2 or flash EQ2 is quite good. Or you can W flash. So I'd say yeah, it's definitely mandatory. You should take it every game. It depends on if you verse a heavy range comp, it's really hard to fight without flash. But if you verse some melees, it's not too bad.
Is yeah, it's not like a champion. They're like, you talk about how important Ghost was with Olaf.
Yeah.
It's like you should really consider if you have Ghost, to like maybe not take that fight.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like Olaf where because you still got your E and your ulti, a bit of mobility, so it's a bit better than that. But still, yeah, if you verse a heavy range comp, like if you verse Lilia Hui, you're not doing anything without flash. So here, this is where I smartened up a bit. Okay, let's actually create top pressure now. We lose the 5v5, so I need to use the fact that I win side lane to create a numbers advantage. I'm not like a tank where teamfighting is my only option. Even though I'm a good teamfighting champion, I can also play through side. So my goal here, push and wave, make someone answer, and create a numbers advantage situation. So you can see here, with my bot lane being like 0 or 2 and 9, mid being 0-4 or whatever it was, it's going to be a game where you just can't hold everyone's hand in 5v5. So you can see the wave clear is not too good, but it's not worth building like Tiamat every game for. It's kind of similar to Jax, I'd say, where your wave clear is not amazing, but it's not worth building it every time.
Yeah, but you can only sort of kill like one. You don't really have AoE damage. You can only sort of kill one also minions at a time.
Yeah, level 13 feels better because if you WE the casters, they get one shot. So level 13 is good for wave clear, but before that, it's a little bit awkward. So there I was looking for a play mid, but yeah, just better to go back top.
Yeah, so this is always an interesting part where people a lot of the time lose their minds, especially on a champion that doesn't seem like, you're not like a Yorick or like a split push or a demolish, type champion here or Sion. Like, you can't really hit the tower, but there's no minion wave. So I see a lot of people lose their minds and do really bad roams here. So do you experience this in your coaching? Like, I feel like this is such a critical point where you could lose the game.
That's the classic, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to do something, where just overforce something. So there I just look for the play mid, but you see I didn't commit. The formula is always you start moving, you move your camera, you commit if it looks good. But there it didn't look good because my mid based and their mid wasn't there. So I just go back to top. It's not the end of the world. If my Lee Sin was hovering me top, and I probably should have pinged him a bit more, but if he was hovering me top, I would have gone for the dive on Cho. But you can just see there, that's like the average. You push the wave, you look for the play, but only commit to the play if it looks good. So you'll see here, I stack my Q on the one. I'm holding Q2. I'll use it now. Last sec. Oh no, I won't. Never mind. Should have. But as like an average thing, stacking your Q off the ward or the Raptors, getting Q2 preloaded, really important. But there you can just see, okay, this fight's too weird. I don't like it. Back to side. So you can see the minions all live 1 HP. Not quite enough points in E yet. But yeah, pretty good damage to tower with Triforce with Q. Not amazing like a Fiora, but nothing to sneeze at.
But typically you find yourself not really hitting towers. I feel like this is a bit of a rare game where you have so much, you have a lot of side lane pressure. Like, this is not a Garen, again. This is not like this type of champion. So typically you want to be like, move into the fights. It's like push and move instead of hitting the tower. Is that what you see a lot of the game? Is
exactly right. Yeah, but don't close yourself off. You're not a tank. You can still play side in a game like this, where your bot lane and mid laner, your bot and mid are just not playing very well, and a team fight's pretty unrealistic, just a straight 5v5. So you use side pressure to create numbers advantage. There I hit the tower because Cho'Gath went for a walk, and I was able to bring, Hui TP top, Aatrox move up, stuff like that. So I'm trying to create pressure and split them up, not just go for a default 5v5. And this is really important games where you don't just win the 5v5.
Yeah, it's really, really hard game because you're not winning 5v5s right now, but also you're not the best split push champ. So you're in a bit of like a weird situation. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this game unfolds from this point. Because it just looks uncomfortable right now. This game looks hard.
It's not your ideal. Yeah, definitely. You'd just love to rock up to this hero, to this dragon, and just go for a big fight. But you definitely got to adapt because, again, you're not a Rumble. You're not a Malphite where teamfighting is your only option. So here I TP'd it. Ready for the Herald fight. I'm pretty strong at the moment. So you can see I'm ready for this. Because going bottom, pushing it all the way would have taken too long. So they preload the Q into 2-man W. So you can see that I'm kiting in and out, just trying to get that passive stacked. And then ulti in later on with full passive. So don't look at my target selection here. It's a little bit creep. Just wanted some scrambled eggs, I guess. But you can see the start of this fight, I'd say was really well played before I randomly did that. And then here I flash W, not just to go onto him, but to keep my passive stacked as well.
So you get the revive. Yeah.
You can't like Olaf in a way. You don't want to let your thing drop off, right? Olaf ulti, Zaahen passive. You don't want to let it drop off. And look how much HP I got back from their revive. So it actually catches people off guard a lot. So buffer the W through Huayfair, get the kill,
Well
and back
played.
out. So if we go back to the start of this fight, the most important
Yeah.
thing, not the fancy mechanics in the end, the most important thing is the decision making here. I stack my Q off the ward. I EQ2'd this, I just Q2'd him into W, and then you can see if we pause real quick right now, before the fight fully started, I already had, 7 or 8 passive stacks. Just from like weaving in and out, messing around. I didn't really do that much damage to them. I was just chipping away at them, getting the passive up, getting the conquer up. So now when the fight actually begins, you can see I'm full passive stacks. They don't really want to focus me because I'll heal back. I have 310 AD this 16 minutes. So you get really, really broken at this point. If you can stack
Yeah.
off one guy. I'm telling you, just need one bozo on the enemy team to stack off and you're broken. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna look. So I'm just like the viewers, like let's just look at this so we can just see how what you're because this is a very long fight, right? But you sort of
Yeah.
make it long. You could have rat him like an idiot, but so you're looking for one bozo to stack off,
Yeah, exactly.
and then you go in with the R. Okay.
Yeah. And then here I should have just gone on Hui, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is the like I did ulting late after stacking everything, waiting, and remember you're not the engage. Your ulti, even though it's a big AoE, it's not a big CC. So I kind of let Seraphine start the fight, or in some games it'll be their Alistair that starts the fight. Doesn't really matter as long as you're not the one going in first, tanking all the CC, dying. Just try to stack off whoever goes in. One person's all it takes.
I want to just talk about this very subtle thing here. A lot of people would R right now, but you go for extra auto attacks because, obviously Seraphine ult is going to last a little bit longer than, you don't have to ult instantly. You think you do one auto attack and then you did 2 auto attacks. You got 2 extra stacks before Ring. But a lot of people would R on that instantly. Would you probably say that as well?
Yeah, I was stacking a bit more and I wanted to buffer CC go back. I just ulted the Nivea Q as well. That was the big thing.
That.
So there.
Yeah. Oh wow, dude, that's perfect.
I'm always waiting for something like that. Nivea Q, Huayfair, anything, just to waste one extra CC spell of them and then remove it off you.
Yeah. Wow, that whole fight was just a really beautiful demonstration of the strengths of this champ. This champ makes a lot of sense to me now.
Yeah.
I feel like the Zaaheens in my games don't stack off the bozo. They just like go in like idiots and like, oh, I got the revive or whatever. They get the revive off, but they do no damage. They're not actually killing anyone.
Yeah, it's so similar to Darius. Darius, if you just verse 1-0-10 Nautilus that keeps hooking in, even if the rest of their team's good, you're chilling. Same here. This Aatrox went in a little bit too cocky, and he just made my champ broken.
Okay, so I mean, you're still not out of this game. The game's still hard. The game's not completely over right now, even though you're quite fed. So Assassin here, Nivea here. So what are you looking at? What are you thinking about when you look at this tab screen here? Or are you just thinking, I don't care about my team, I'm just going to solo carry these fights? Are you thinking about people's ults at all, like Seraphine ults in these fights? What are you thinking?
After that, I think, okay, we can win a fight now. I got Sundered Sky. My teammates who had like Noon Quiver and Lost Chapter before, they actually have items. So a fight's definitely winnable. So I'm probably going to push in this wave and look to Joy and Dragon and see if it's a good fight. But again, it's a game where you're behind. You have to really make sure you only pick fights that look good. One thing to note here, even though my passive is down, I don't think it's as big of a deal of like, oh, my passive's down, I can't fight. Because if you get full stacks well, you're just so strong. You just heal so much and do so much damage. You're not going to die that much until later on, I'd say. Like in this game, if you see me press tab with Sundered Sky, level 13, I'm not really going to die unless I misplay. Like who's going to kill me? That Ghostblade Jhin? Probably not. So here I'm not that worried about my revive being on cooldown. So don't tunnel too hard on that. By the time you get one shot, your revive has like a 2-minute cooldown anyway. So here you can see, trying to get into this area, stack my Q off the ward here, and just holding Q2, holding Q2. There we go, EQ, W. I would have R'd there, but I was rooted by Jhin, and then boom, there we go.
Yeah.
So there, the idea was good, but I got rooted by Jhin before I could ulti. I was kind of waiting for a Nivea Q. Would have been better if I reacted to the Jhin W as well. But just a little bit of stacking here. And then here I would have, WR'd. You can see I always try to go for a WR or something like that as well. So I can increase the chance that it hits. And then straight back to the wave. I don't want to chase this. Remember, my champ's one of the worst in the game at chasing people. So I normally just go farm after. Sometimes I'll back ping if it looks losing. But yeah, they're probably going to win that after my ulti. And straight back to top. So at this point, I just want to get top wave pushed out, ready for this Artican fight. I'm not going to play really that hard for top tier 2 or anything like that. even though a little bit of this is again's a good example because I was side laning a bit when the fight wasn't winnable, but you saw when the fight became winnable, I definitely played for it. So it's not black and white where you only fight or you only side lane. Here, even though I could play for top tier 2, I'm probably going to play for Arakan. If I remember correctly. Maybe we go for it, but we'll see. If no one answers me, I'm going to take it though, for sure.
Yep. So I guess we do Herald first.
There we go. Kicks in. EW. Let's keep stacking. Is he holding LT? Holding LT.
I love the hold on this. This is great. Don't
Didn't
even R there.
Yeah, didn't need it
That's
there.
great.
So you have to be really patient with that spell. And then I'll just take it because it's free, right? So on any champ, even if your goal is not the tier 2, if it's the free tier 2, you get such a high amount of gold. So I'm just going to take it here. All right, I remember this. Don't look at his flash. To give this guy some slack, I think he's a Darius one trick or something.
He's had a rough game. This guy's had a rough game, dude.
Poor guy. So I'm just going to, base and go Arakan here. So big reason I bought Visage this game. I have Seraphine, I have a lot of healing, and I have enough gold to one-shot it. I could have sold Dorans and bought like Styrax or something, but Visage is quite good this game because Hui is the only champ I'm a bit scared of. If we look at those items, quite a lot of damage. But you can see I'm going top straight away because I have TP. If I didn't have TP, straight to Arakan, I'm ready to fight. But I want to min-max. I want to create as much pressure as possible, stay high level, get good XP. But I will TP if a fight looks good. Pretty sure I TP'd here. Yeah. Because Victor can't get one-shot by this combination of champions. If they were just going to get instantly killed by Vi ulti or something, I wouldn't come. But he can buy a lot of time. So I come in, EQ. So there's a bad W there. I should have held it until after the Q2. But we got the flash, we got the kill here. Not a big deal. So you can kind of see the no-scope Ws aren't really... They're pretty hard to... I mean, that guy flashed it, but yeah. So you can see there as well, Q stacked off a minion, EQ to the Hui, get his flash instantly.
So do you think a big thing to get your Zaahen to the next level is just really getting granular on like your Ws? Like, would you say that fights are literally won or lost off hitting Ws, or not really?
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, chain CCing your R with your W or your Q2W, chain CCing those 3 combination of spells together is definitely really important for team fighting. Also, how to execute a fight where they don't have some bozo they run to you is also a big learning curve as well. It's something all Darius mains go through. I've had a lot of Darius students quit the champ because what do I do versus range tops? Because it's what really separates the best Dariuses. So same with Zaahen, what to do in a full range comp. Because you can see this game when I've just got this Aatrox to stack off, it's quite easy if he plays that way. But you're not going to have that every game. So that's definitely the thing that'll take me to the next level if I can practice team fighting into heavy range comps. So there you can see Q2W, undodgeable. And even at the start of that fight, I stack Q off the Arakan and then EQ to the Aatrox there. So always trying to do that. Kind of the Camille thing. But the thing about Camille Q, you've got such a short amount of time to use it. The Zaahen Q, you can let it time out almost twice. Because, before you cast Q2, you have a long time. And then after you cast it, it lasts a long time. I feel like they might nerf that at some point. Because you can hold it for a ridiculously long amount of time. So dragon up in a minute. So fix top first, and then run down to dragon most likely.
Yeah, so you're not playing for towers here. We're just pushing out waves, creating pressure. Then we're going to rotate towards the objectives.
Yep, they're in our mid spacing. Jungle's behind tempo. So I'm just sort of taking over the jungle here. Not that worried about top tier 1. Top tier 1, 23 minutes doesn't matter. Don't panic. Just fully control the jungle that you want.
Yeah, I do see some people defend these towers. I'm like, this tower falls at like paper at 23 minutes.
Yeah,
like, no one cares
matter.
about the tier 1 at this point.
So staunching the tower. But yeah, at this point, if you're ahead, like level 16's ahead, so strong. I still think he's stronger 1-2 Spike in like a normal game where everyone's pretty even. I still think 1-2, he's not like a Gwen or a Darius that has that second awakening level 16, 3 items. But he's definitely strong. He definitely is stronger than like an Aatrox or Renekton or those other bruisers that are mainly just 1-2 item players.
So when's your biggest spike in the game? To the
Ah,
items.
I think level 9 Triforce feels so good. It depends on the game though. For team fighting, it's probably 2 items. Level 13, 2 items with Sundered Sky is probably the biggest like overall spike. But level 9, you saw this game when I had Triforce, I just one-shot that guy. Yes, he was far behind, but even in an even state game, if you have Triforce at like 11 minutes, you still spike really hard. But yeah, I'd say 2 items is probably the best. It's really hard for them to kill you through Sundered Sky before you stack passive. But level 13, level 16, when mids and AD carries get 3 items, their damage starts to really ramp up. So it's taking
I
his
could
inhibs.
definitely I could definitely see people struggle to close out games with Zaahen because it's like this scenario. Obviously, you guys do get the tower, and you guys got a lot of pressure in this game, and you guys are quite far ahead at this point here. But a lot of people will just get trapped here, and like their team
Mm,
would like ARAM you there. You go for the dive, you guys will die. They sort of get back into the game. It seems like you want them to be fighting more so around objectives. You want those fights,
yeah,
similar again to the Renekton's, the Aatrox. You're just useless sieging towers. That's not your champ
definitely.
identity.
If I couldn't get the spot tower here on this cannon, I'd drop 50 pings on the Baron and make everyone come to it. But here, because I
Yeah.
had that opportunity on the cannon minion, I just took it. But you can see the biggest thing for this champ is to get the mindset that you're not a champ that forces plays. You're not a playmaker. You're not a playmaker. Like, sure, sometimes we can, right? Sometimes on Darius, you get a flash 4-man E. But that's not your default. Same with this champ. You have to let the play come to you. Get to the objective, let it come. You can see even here, I'm not going in. I'm 4 items. I'm juiced out of my mind, but that's not my champ's identity. If I go in here, I'm probably going to get chain CC'd. Might not die, but my value would be quite low. So I'm just playing it quite slow, chilling. You can see waiting for all this shit to be used. Stack my Q off that minion. EQ2W. So there I was going to ulti with the backline, but my team was just nowhere near. So I just tried to go onto the rest of their team. But yeah, not my best ulti. So you can kind of see, and like you just said, when it's not by an objective, when you're in the base, it's kind of awkward. It's very hard
Yeah.
to do anything. That's the same in the middle of the lane or anything like that. You really need that confined space of the jungle.
Yeah, what I just saw there in their base, you did not look like a 12-1 champion.
Yeah,
But that's all
exactly.
you can do. That's all you can do on a champion like that. If you're a 12-1 Syndra there, you could probably like pet kill everyone,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, you need them to come to you, but if they can sit on their towers, they don't need to come to you. So that's why I pinged. As soon as that happened, as soon as I was basing, I just pinged Baron. I was like, no, 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 we have to do this. But again, I'm not Malphite. I'm not going to sit there and hold my jungler's hand. I'm going to go bottom, create pressure, and TP if it looks good. But just to ruin my example, I think it looked good pretty quickly, so I will TP quite soon. Like here, they're just out of position, so TP in.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the game just ends here. Yeah, they were stuck in a bad spot. So go for a flank here, stack Q off the minion. You can see every time, always trying to do that.
Mm.
WQ, so chain CCing the Q off the W that time. And now I look like a 12 kill champ, just running at their whole team. Because they were out of their base momentarily, right? They were in the jungle a bit, so it's quite hard for them. But you can see even there, can't kill anything. Camille would kill everything there. Jax would probably kill everything there at 12 and 1. So you can see chasing and forcing. This champ just sucks at it.
Yeah, when we look at the Emerald player next or later in the video here,
Mm,
I'm really going to be curious to see if the Zaahen stack in, especially in the big game, stack in the Q. It seems that the stacking Q thing is just so important off the menu before you
yeah.
attend the fight. That seems a difference because I actually think about I never see Zaheens like enter a fight with the Q. Like maybe it's I'm the jungler and like they're not. But I feel like I should be the bozo that they're hitting, because I
Yeah,
know I play
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
melee champs. So I feel like a lot of people just don't do that. I mean, right there, that's even the flash. You stacked it up and then you did the flash
Mm.
there, flash QW.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Always trying to chain CC it. And then just ulti for a bit of fun. So yeah, I'm really excited in the Emerald student, the Emerald player to see his laning phase. If he tries to force long trades after reading the passive, and the way he plays team fights. If he just, like you said in your game, just tries to malfight ulti straight away.
Yeah. All right, before we do that, let's quickly talk about some matchups. Get your opinions
Mm.
on matchups here, Chippies, for this champion.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's start off with, I guess, the popular, champs. Or actually, let's just talk about what are the very hard matchups. I mean, they're all the range champions, right?
Yeah, pretty much anything with range can go there. Jace is really hard. Kale, I wouldn't say very hard actually, but let's go. Let's put Jason very hard, and There's not many range champs on this list, but just champs like
Yeah, I
Ken.
actually just
Yeah,
realized I didn't put like the Quins and stuff like that in the list, but I don't need to put it on here.
yeah,
People
we
just
know
know
it.
it's like
We
the
know,
range
yeah.
champ. Teemo,
Yeah,
Teemo,
Quinn.
Quinn, all those terms will be in the very hard.
But put Kale and put Kale in just a regular hard, just because the 1 to 5 is Zahan's weakest point. But same with Kale, so it's not too bad. And you could put Nar in very hard, I'd say, for a good Nar. It's not Jace level, but I'd still call it very hard. Then
What about something like GP? GP is like semi-ranged.
GP, yeah, I'd say hard because you can dodge his barrel pretty consistently with E, and that's a lot of his upfront poke. So it's not the same level as like a Jace or Rumble. Rumble goes very hard straight away. I'm starting to think Rumble might even be one of the hardest matchups if we can find him somewhere. There he is.
No,
Yeah,
there is. Yeah.
Rumble, just can't play the game. There's just no avenue unless the Rumble does something dumb, like runs at you with 0 stacks or overheated or something. I think this matchup's pretty unwinnable 1v1. Let's see.
What are some ones that aren't ranged that people might surprise people that you are a little bit annoying or struggle with?
You can put Jax and Irelia into hard. So they can force onto you, even though you have a dash, they can lead with movement, stuff like that. So those matchups, they can just force extended trades onto you. And of course, Jax E blocks your Q1 and your Q2, which is very annoying. But I would still not put them on the same level. It's very hard. Irelia, you can dodge her E with your E, but especially a Blade of Ruin King, she can just kill you. And yeah, the 1 to 3 can be a bit tricky too. Let's see.
Gragas?
Gragas, I'll just put him as easy. I think any matchup that you can get to level 9 even is pretty easy. Like, you're pretty happy, and that's definitely one. Again, the champs that rely on hitting skill shots is quite good because you can just dodge with E, and this champ doesn't have mana problems. You don't really go unless you're spamming your W for no reason. So I'd put Malphite in... Actually, I'll put Malphite in skill, I think. He can just kind of punch you around a little bit. Cassante, put in skill as well. Same reason. He can punch you around, but there's a lot of outplay. You can dodge his Qs, dodge his Ws. Sion
What about
is...
Ambessa? Ambessa.
Ambessa's skill.
A really popular champ right now, so it's a skill. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Ambessa's skill. Ornn would be easy.
So tanks. These I'm thinking that like all these champs, would they be?
Urgot hard. Urgot's a ranged champ.
Urgot
So
hard.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, any champ.
Yone?
Any champ you can farm well. Yone, I would probably put... I haven't played this one yet, but trying to visualize it, I'll assume hard for now. Because he has ways to force extendeds onto you. And I feel like in side lane, he would be able to beat you up a bit with Blade Rune King. Let's see. Vladimir would be hard. He has so much sustain. You're a short trading champ, but he's got a lot of sustain. So he's just going to poke you down. That can be annoying. Pantheon, I actually didn't mind this one. I'll put in skill. I think when you've got ulti, if you can ulti his W, you just destroy him, which is quite nice. He can E it, but it's still pretty good for you. Camille.
Kennen is very hard, right?
Oh yeah, Kennen very hard for sure. And Aurora if you find her anywhere on the second row down there. Put Aurora on very hard too.
Actually, oh, there we go. Yeah.
Let's see. Riven. I'd say Riven hard, but not very hard. Camille would be a skilly. I've played Camille into Zaahen, and it doesn't feel too bad for Camille. So it's definitely more of a skill matchup.
You have a dash? Is Poppy annoying, or is Poppy just too weak of a top lane champ at the moment?
I'll put Poppy in skill just because this is for lane. This tier list is only for laning phase. I'd say you'd be fine versa, but Poppy has a lot of poke in lane as well. And yeah, like you said, you can't use your ear.
What about the classics? The Darius, the Renekton's of the world, Mordekaiser, Aatrox, Fiora. What about these? A lot of people face these in solo queue, right?
So Darius, Renekton, I'd put in hard, but I would always rather verse these champions than the range tops because you can still do your job and you can catch them off guard a lot of the time. Like I played the Darius matchup pretty recently, and I would just, it is his favorite because 1 to 5 is tricky. But if you ulti buffer his E, or if you dodge his Q consistently with your E, there's actually outplay in these ones. Versus Rumble, you just don't have permission to play the game. So it's not really an option. So yeah, definitely there. But Mordekaiser I'd put in skilly because you can just dodge all of his abilities with your E pretty easily.
Fiora,
I would say would be a bit hard. Maybe more like a 55-45, but I'll just put in hard for now. Because I could imagine like a PTA Ignite Fiora would be quite tricky.
What are other really popular champs? Yeah, so Aatrox, Gwen, Set, Garen, or Gaza. Where does Gaza go? I'm curious where Gaza goes.
Garen, I'd call it a skill matchup because you have the range advantage, but the range advantage is tiny. So it's all up to you. But he can beat you up a bit 1 to 5. And then Aatrox, I'll put in skill as well. I think it'd be like a, if we'd be a bit nerdy, like a 53-46, something like that. Slightly
Yeah.
Aatrox favored, but we'll put it
Yeah.
in skill matchup. Gwen, I actually found this matchup pretty easy. I'll put it in easy. Set, Set, you have the range advantage, he can stun, you can ulti buffer. I'd put Set in skill. I think like a really good ignite set would give you some trouble, but I'll put in skill. He's no ways to really poke you down. Akali's very hard, actually. Akali. That matchup's hard. You can't, like, you could, but building Hex Drinker feels miserable. And yeah, she's a range champ, pretty much.
Hitting your abilities, I guess, are really hard, right? Like hitting your W and your R on that champion, even your Q too, right? Like, because your Q's an auto attack, right? You need to knock her out. That's so annoying. The W shroud, right?
Yeah, if she W's early, you can't hit it. And even if you do Q2W, if she buffers her W through it, like, you can't see her to stack your passive. So this champ's impossible to stack passive against. And it's pretty much a range champion that can just kill you with ulti if the wave's on her side. Because she takes TP Ignite as well.
Yeah. What about Shen? Because Shen blocks auto attacks.
I'll put skill. It's one of the skill matchups that you'd be pretty stoked to verse, though. Because, like, he wouldn't be able to punish you. Cho'Gath, as we just saw, easy peasy. Yorick would be... I think Yorick would be easy, to be honest. You can dodge every E with your E. So if he chucks E at you, you E towards him, and you just use your range advantage a bit. It would be Warwick favored for sure, but Warwick is favored versus any melee champ. We'll just put in hard, though. Because I think you could, maybe you go down 10 or 15 farm, but it wouldn't be too bad. Singed. Oh, I actually played this one. I'll put it in skill. It's a little bit annoying because you can't stack on him. He just runs away and flips you. But it is a matchup that you can farm in, so it's not too bad. Then we have Olaf.
The famous Olaf.
Olaf would be skill. Yeah, Olaf would be skill. So you can actually kind of see, just like as a checkpoint here, this champ's not really strong in lane. Most things is either skill or losing. The champs that you beat are kind of champs that everyone beats. So it's not like, you're not playing them for the lane phase.
Yeah, there's definitely some skill expression on this champ. Yeah, as I said, not for the lane phase, but yeah, minimize that lane phase against these champs and, outplaying. Like as you said, even if it's a skill, it's like you're not solo killing these champions. Like, you might, but it's, again, you're just going 0-0-0 you're comfortable with. That's fine.
Yep, exactly. If you're Triforce level 9, you're going to beat up the Ambessa, the Camille, the everything. So you're pretty happy with that. Now
So imagine the champs like Kled, Volibear, these champs would just beat you up, right? These must be hard, are they?
Kled would be, Kled, Volley, hard. I think Trundle would be skill or easy. Let's just put it in easy because you have the range advantage. The range advantage is really, really underrated. That's why champs like Ambessa just beat every melee because all of her abilities and her passive has range. But same with Zaahen. All 3 of your spells has range. Q, E, W, all of it. So you do have that range advantage. Alawi, I'd say skilly. If you dodge every E, you'll win. If you get hit by them, you'll lose. Yeah, the classic.
Lose, yeah.
You put her in skill matchup and everything. Yasuo, I think Yasuo would be pretty hard. Actually, I have played this one recently, and he can win wall W. Yeah, I'll put him in hard, but like barely hard. He'd be at the bottom rung. Mundo easy. And Tryndamere skill. I played this one recently as well. It wasn't too bad. Yep, so I'm pretty happy with that list for now. There are, of course, some I'd need to get more data on that I haven't played. For example, like what's one? Like Aatrox I haven't quite played yet, or Fiora. So there are some that, might move down or might move up a little bit as time goes on. But for now, that's sort of what you'd expect. But yeah, don't get disheartened by that because you're not a champion that has to win lane. So don't feel like, oh, there's some bad matchups. And of course, the numbers are a little bit strong right now. So he's definitely still a strong champ, even though you're not favored to beat these champs in lane. But it's also kind of that thing where if you win lane on a scaling champion, your chance of winning is really, really high as well.
Beautiful. All right, Chippys, let's now use all the knowledge we've talked about for the last hour. Let's compare it now to see what, all these new Zaahen players that are all popping up. Let's see what are common mistakes and some things that they're doing that needs to be worked on.
Let's do it.
Okay, so here's our Emerald sacrifice for today's episode here, Chippys. Just found this guy randomly on the OPGG, currently Emerald 2, 1,600 games. He's 670 games with GP, so he's a GP top main that he's looking to maybe add Zaahen to his champ pool. We've got 300 games of Shaco as well. I'm not sure. Sort of maybe play some other roles, not an actual full top lane main, but obviously mainly plays, and he's really excited about Zaahen. So, what are you seeing here in terms of build? This guy does not give a shit about Triforce, it looks like.
Damn. Yeah, so I'm feeling like he's probably going to be one of the players that we talked about that's trying to overforce and chase and that type of thing that you want to avoid. And Stride Breaker does help you do that. Wait, he go back to that one.
Wait,
Did
what happened there?
he
Did he
sold his
sell that?
he sold his driver?
Wow,
All
it's
right, that's
that
all
bad.
right.
Oh yeah, it's literally he's just like, this is unplayable. I'm going Strybreaker.
Yeah.
That's so interesting to see. That's how much people are confused with this champion. I think they don't know the champ identity. So I can already tell what's probably going to be happening in these games. Yeah, that's it. This guy just refuses to play the champ identity. Look at this, Triforce,
Black
no
Cleaver,
Triforce.
yeah, Black Cleaver because he's this Malphite, falling into those types of traps.
Yeah. All the narratives, common community narratives, right? And it's funny to see this even in Emerald, even a player this experienced, still, there's just they're not getting specific with the champion. Obviously, Zaahen's obviously a new champion. Maybe it's not fleshed out. There's not all those YouTube guides yet, all that. But very sort of interesting to see here.
Yep, perfect. So, what game are you leaning towards? What do you think would be a good starting point?
I've selected the game, Chippys. Wait and see.
All right.
We'll jump in now.
I'll wait and see.
Okay, Chippy. So, talking about D-Shield versus Doran's Blade. We're against an Aatrox this game. Would you go opt for the Doran's Blade here, or would you still go for the D-Shield?
I'd probably go for Blade just because Aatrox is a champ that's quite weak early game, so you can get priority in this one. And if you get priority, Blade value goes up a lot because you have full control of the wave. You can base TP whenever you want, so you don't need that added sustain of shield. So I'm happy with the D-Blade choice. So far, so good. Let's take a look at his runes, though, I reckon. See if there's any holes in there.
Actually, look at that. Yeah. There we go.
Okay. Oh, Vitalize. He might have seen my guide. Not bad. He went haste instead of
attack speed though.
That's
no attack speed.
I think it's personal preference. I think most Saiyans will go attack speed, but it's not like it's a big problem.
And he goes scaling health, and then he goes the attack speed here. And obviously, you need some sort of attack speed. So he's not got an alacrity, so he takes it in the runes. Is that the idea?
Yep, that's perfectly fine. That's what people do when they'd go grasp. They'll take attack speed. He's just doing it with haste, so the setup looks pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm looking for him to get priority and auto Q or just Q this Aatrox every time he walks up. So hit the wave, hit the wave. All right, so already straight away. I mean, it's more of an Aatrox specific thing, not a Zaahen one, but you want to close the gap versus Aatrox. You want to kite in, not out, so that he could get 2 Qs. But that's a good little Q2 there, using his range advantage. Getting zoned, yeah. So kind of top.
This is not how the matchup should be going.
Yeah, he's been playing too much Shaco. You can see his laning fundamentals, just like letting this Aatrox push, letting him do what he wants. And if you can ever get priority, you pretty much want to do it. So he's just playing too passive. I like that he respects the level 2 though, but he should be the one. He should be the one getting level 2 and spinning on this guy's head. So far, pretty disciplined. So what I want to see is you kind of mark abilities in your mind. If this guy Qs me, I'm going to dash forward. So you can do that with a lot of things. Camille W, stuff like that. So I want to see him dash in. There we go. So I like the dash in, but you have to do it on Q1, not Q2, or Aatrox is going to Q3 you, like we just saw there. So right idea, just the wrong spell that he dodged. One thing I'm excited to see is if he chain CCs his spells, his Q2 with his W. So Q2, oh, you didn't have W there.
Sort of baiting for this Master Yi here. A Master Yi level 3 gank. I don't see this every day.
Gotta respect it. Nice. All right, that's top gap right there. So I would say he got bailed up pretty heavily. Of course, he wouldn't have taken that much damage if his jungler wasn't there, but he's still on the back foot. He's still low HP. He's still under tower. So definitely, just because you're champ, just because we're saying you're not a super lane bully or strong champ, you still want to get priority in the matchups that you can. The champs that are also weak early game, like Aatrox.
So this guy just can't get this wave in, right? Like, even if Diana's not here, he should have insta-recalled.
Yeah, and you can see is the jungler's nightmare when they look top. The 2 out of 2 wards available on the trinket there. That's why you don't want to see.
That too as well.
That's why you don't want to see. So yeah, you just when you're pushing towards your opponent, you always got to sneak a ward out. So his time to ward would be right after this minion right now, because you're waiting for the wave to settle anyway. So
you think you can still get this wave? I mean, it's a huge wave, so he can get this wave in. You wouldn't recall here.
1v1 he can, but he can't 1v2. So he just has to ward in base.
All right.
But I like warding before he bases, so he doesn't have to TP and then go ward. It's a bit awkward. And then he can see if Diana's camping his TP. Classic jungle game. Both of them just clear into a free kill. Okay, TP back top. TP. So yeah, it's not Zaahen specific, but You just got to use that first TP back to lane.
There's no reason to hold it, is there?
Nah, he's losing so much. You need to play more selfish. Like I said before, consistent early game. 0-0, good farm, level 9. You do not want to be behind on this champ. This champ actually feels pretty terrible from behind because you're not strong enough to stack. Hold on, let's see this fight first.
There's no W, right? So
I like that he held his E in case Aatrox dashed or something. W. I mean, this was fine. Nice. Pretty well played. But yeah, as I was saying, you don't want to be behind on this champ. Because if you're weak, if you're behind the game curve, you don't have the survivability needed to actually stack your passive up. It's very difficult. So I don't like that he's playing so selfless. And this is a pretty common mistake we see. It's like, my jungler needs me, I'm there no matter what. No matter what my wave looks like, no matter how terrible it looks. And that might come from this guy loving a bit of Shackle on the side, but you can't like your jungler that much. You have to play for yourself first, especially on a champ like this. If he's like Maokai or something, or Sejuani top, like sure, run around, but not onto him. So walks back. Okay, he's got red buff. I want to see him pressure. If you Q me, I'm going to dash forward. I want to see that pre-decided. I like that. Auto Q2W. Let's see, does he change CC it? No, he doesn't. Holds his W for ages. He does have red buff, so it's not too bad. But you can see, this is a good example. He took a long trade, doesn't feel that good. No. More of a short trading champ. Even with red, even with 2-kill advantage, it wasn't that good. So he is down a level to give him some.
Yeah, he had Phage on him, dude. Like that's crazy. Yeah, so
and the red,
it's really clear.
But yeah,
short trades in the early game.
Of course, he'd tank the wave and stuff, but yeah, I'd just say generally short trade mindset. Auto Q, auto, nice. All right, not too bad so far. This is definitely a champ that I would recommend for students also as well. One thing we didn't touch on while he walks back to lane. I think it's not as easy, of course, as like Garen or Set. I'd put him more on like the Gwen Urgot tier, where good carry champ that's playable for lower rank students. Definitely a bit of fun. So I'd say, as we can see, he's doing pretty well. It's not like a super complicated champ like a Rumble or a Cassante, where only really Master Plus players should be playing them.
Yeah, so it's like a good middle ground champ. It's like, it's not easy, as you said, but he has a lot of sort of rough lane matchups. But it seems like it really teaches the fundamentals and teaches you to not just be like a split push. It teaches you how to team fight, it teaches you how to use your TP correctly. It seems like a really good champion to learn top lane with. It's a really well designed champ.
Yep.
And it seems from right.
It's got some fun in the kit, a bit of skill expression, but not too crazy. Not a Fiora, not an Irelia, right? Not a Camille. It's definitely a lot easier than them. But one thing, as we can see from our junior, it's like, our Emerald Zaahen, when to take short trades, when to take long trades. That is definitely going to be the learning curve. It's not as black and white as a champ like Darius or Garen. Okay, stack the wave. Okay, so far so good. So this is definitely a game where you would want that Triforce so badly into their comp. Now, he could still build it. But you can see Yone, Diana, Aatrox. You cannot find a better game for Zaahen with Triforce on the sky. So you've actually picked the dream game for him here. 3 melees that have to run at you to be useful. That's 3, like we said, 3 potential bozos to stack off. So he's in a really good spot.
I'd be so sad if this guy builds Strybreaker. I feel like he's going to build Strybreaker. It's going to be so sad.
The Phage double sword could be either. He's teasing us, but yeah, I feel like he might. Yeah, see what I mean? He's too much of a nice guy on this champ. He just dropped all his lane pressure to leash crab. You can't be doing that. Freezes the wave. So I don't mind the freeze at this point, but I'd rather him just maintain push for grubs. This champ loves skirmishes like that. Okay, here we go. So this is what I mean. You don't have push, so if Aatrox just pushes that wave, you're going to lose a double.
Yeah, this is really awkward. Yeah,
you're going to lose 2 cannons.
I love how he's just insta-punish for that. Like, he thinks he's doing a great job by freezing, but you don't need to freeze at this stage of the game because you want to be playing for the grubs.
Yep, exactly. If your jungler's like leaving you out to dry and he's playing for dragon, sure, but not in this case. Oh, let's go back to this fight after.
Yeah.
The ulti usage. You can see when this champ is passive, you're just Thanos. You just kill everyone's scared of you. They don't want to waste time killing you because you revive. But it's kind of like that thing where someone's Zillion ulted and you wait it out and they're just killing you the whole time. It's kind of
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. Yeah, it's really annoying. All right, so what are you looking for in this fight? What are you seeing here?
So I don't like that he rushed to Z. It'd be really good if he stacked Q off the grub or if anything, and then Q'd, and then he didn't chain CC anything. There was no WR, there was no Q2R. If we go back as well, I want to see how he used the W, but I'm almost certain he didn't Q2W. So Insta E. Insta E Q, Q2. Same with the lane. He didn't use his W at the Q2. So his W did not end up hitting Diana there, where it should have been a one-shot. She should have been insta-killed with Q2WR there. But because he didn't chain CC it, she got to buy a lot of time. Okay, so they win this fight in the end, but I'd say definitely he could have optimized his E, his Q, his W, and his R usage. He could optimize all of them. But yeah, you can see the big difference here between the way I was fighting is he's not chaining his spells. He just like EQ'd, bash, 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 W, bash, bash, ulti. He's not using his kit very fluid. It's kind of like Aatrox in a way where Aatrox, you don't see them Q, wait a while, then E, wait a while, then W, right? They use all their spells together. It's that type of logic. Okay, I'm guessing he's greeting for Stridebreaker, if I had to guess why he's staying here. Hopefully Triforce, but probably Stride. This is a waste of time.
Yeah.
He's 0-3.
We're not going to dive champ. Yeah. And it's just not worth it. Even if you could, it's 0-3. Keep up your tempo here, right?
Yeah. This is an interesting game because most of his mistakes are top lane specific, not Zaahen specific. But you'd think for a new champ, it would mainly be the champion. But this is all just it's all just top lane specific mistakes. Like you got to tell your support to get lost and just base there. And there's the stride break here. So there's some champ related mistakes. He's not comboing his spells well. But it's all the decisions, like the miss back time is the wave control stuff. So that's why if like you said, he's a good champ to learn the role on. If you play top lane well, you're probably going to play Zaahen well.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of ability usage, he just doesn't understand the combo. I think this guy's struggling with the champion and as well the top lane fundamentals. Like he didn't realize, the early, lane matchups, how weak maybe Aatrox. I guess maybe that's also a general thing that a lot of talent loaders know how weak Aatrox is early. But just like giving the wave early, just like not doing any of that. Like when playing, it looks like we're playing this champion still at like 20% of the level.
Yep, definitely. So let's go WQ2. Nice. That was a good combo. He didn't have Q1 ready, so he did the one I showed in Training Tool, EQ1, WQ2. And with Stride Breaker, you don't have to be so strict on Q2W because their strides...
Yeah, because you get the slow.
Yeah, the stride's all broken. Q2W auto. Auto Q.
So is this sort of the classic like proxying when your jungler's bot side? Like,
I mean, this is winnable. I like this proxy because it's winnable. But if we go back to it, he did the thing we talked. He thinks he's Olaf right now. Bash, 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 bash. Right? He's not being elegant. You got to kite out a little bit, weave in and out, play around your cooldowns. You'll see as soon as the champ appears on the screen, he's pretty much just spam right clicking them and using all their spells. So you'll see here. He doesn't like kite out at all. He's just kind of standing there hitting them.
So you like E that direction, like kite out? Is that
E up, wait a bit of time, stuff like that. So he's just like standing still. He didn't really move from that bush the whole time.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, movement. Yeah, so that's what people think this champ I think is just bash, bash, bash like a Rallier, which again, what I initially thought it was, but we're seeing that that's just not the case.
Yep, you always got to be kiting in and out because your passive, like Darius, your passive doesn't drop off for a while. You don't have to feel so, I have to get a stacked ASAP because you can't. It takes too long. You need to weave in and out. So it goes back top. So this game, you just push the wave. At this point, I'd just be looking to proxy, go ward up the jungle, that type of thing. With the Stride Breaker build, I don't love it this game, but if you build it, you might as well use it to proxy. And we see Diana bottom now. Pick some flowers. So I think he got scarred from proxying after dying there, but would have been a good time. Okay, if you Q me, I'm going to dash forward. Let's see it. It hasn't made that connection either. Tagging spells with your E is so important. For example, this Mordekaiser, if every time he Qs you, you dash diagonally and hit him with your E while dodging the Q, you can imagine you start to win every single trade. But Viz Aatrox, you can just dash straight in if you want to. The Q1 and the damage does nothing.
Yeah, I think his mindset is like, when I E in, I'm full committing.
Yeah.
So he doesn't understand. You can like E and poke and then run away. It's like, again, that connection hasn't sort of clicked. You know, champion identity, champion, champ mastery problem.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Your E's a dash, so it feels like you should use it to go in.
It looks like, it's very unintuitive in a way,
Yeah, but it's got a big range AoE damage on it, so you're mainly using it for that. So here I want to see him go for some EQs. Nice, EQ, auto. But he wasted his W earlier on the wave, so now he kind of, he couldn't chain CC that Q2, that W. The problem with this Zaahen player, his Q2 and W, they aren't friends, right? I haven't seen almost any Q2Ws or WRs or, any chaining of spells. Push it in.
So there's no objective up here, right? So your mindset is just looking to break this tower. There's nothing to run to right now.
Yeah, you can't really break the tower. The champ kind of sucks at ignoring people and hitting the tower, especially with Stridebreaker. Okay. So I'd be looking to get a proxy in. Just one-shot this wave instantly and go proxy, roam, proxy ward, maybe eat a jungle camp. Can you put objective timers on? See what we're working with here. So dragon and 2. So yeah, I'll just be proxying and sort of waiting for that. Rock up there early.
And I guess that's another thing where Triforce is good, because it actually helps you as well, like hit towers, right? Like the Sheen proc.
Yep, helps with towers, and it's a good item for 1v1ing. And in top lane, if you can get pushed inside 1v1, you have so many options. If you get pushed on the tower, you have no options except hope for you get a gank. So I'd say, yeah, Triforce is good for that reason as well. It's like, if it allows you to get pushed inside, it's really, really good. But yeah, I think he's just put off from that one failed proxy. Oh, here we go. Oh, I like this ulti. That's pretty nice.
Sort of getting weak-sided now, so there's not much you can do about this.
Yep. That's a good ulti usage.
All right, the TP here. Would you not TP because Dragon's coming up? You need to save it for the Dragon?
Yeah, Silas is already top. It's a bit uncomfortable here because top wave's gone, bot wave's gone. There's nowhere to go. I'd probably just TP mid, eat the wave, and then eat wolves and blue and stuff. Just be a little bit greedy. Not just because there's nothing else to do. Pretty rare that I'd go mid, but nothing else to do here. Okay. So you can see another no Q2W.
Yeah, where's the Q2W? Yeah.
I like that he stacked Q off the wave, though. But no W. So now Dino with her 2 dashes, it's like... I mean, he didn't use it in the end. But, yeah. Q2W and then kite back. Again, that's another example. He's playing like he's Irelia or Olaf, bash, bashing it down. Trundle. Yep. Trundle is a good example. He's playing like he's Trundle. But you got to weave in and out.
Well, it looks like the game pretty much ends here pretty much soon here. So, yeah, I think this is a really good example of demonstrating clearly why please don't build Stridebreaker, guys. Like, I can't believe it that this is such a popular item on this champion still, and this guy's like spam Stridebreaker. I mean, it doesn't make sense. It does make sense, but yeah, it's just a really good example of like, people think this champion's like broken, and like they pick it, and then like we look at the gameplay. It's like, guys, we're not even playing the champion. Like, this is not going to sustain us in the long term.
Yep, and just keep in mind Stridebreaker. It can work in the right situation. If you verse a Jace, a Teemo, Stridebreaker is going to give you a lot of value because you can't you can't really force Triforce procs onto them very easily anyway. But versus especially a comp like this, 3 melees coming at you, it's like you couldn't ask for a bit of Triforce game. So make sure you're building correctly. And one thing to keep in mind, chain CCing or chaining your abilities together, just try to put more thought into it. You're not a Trundle. You can't just run people down like that. You have to chain CC your Q2 with your R, with your W, anything you want, just chain them together.
Awesome. So wrapping up some final questions here, Chippy. So obviously you spent the last, 2 weeks, however long since the champion's been out, learning Zaahen. What has learning Zaahen been like compared to other top lane champs for you? Has it been sort of easy? Has it been, a lot of the things you talked about here, did you have to learn this yourself, or did you learn from other people?
Yeah, Yeah, I did learn it myself. I'd say it's only now that people are starting to get good at them, so watching VODs is more valuable. Day one when they've all got Grasp and Black Cleaver and don't know what to do, VODs aren't the most impactful. So there's a lot of playing. I pretty much, I just queued up trying to pick it whenever it's up, dodging when it gets banned. But yeah, chain CCing was definitely a big thing. The learning curve is definitely the mindset. You cannot, because every time I play a new champ or make a guide, my first games I always just try to shit on the opponent as hard as possible, even if I've never played the matchup before, because that's how you get the most learning and experience trading. But on this champion, you still have to do that to learn what trades feel like, but you get punished really heavily. If you play aggressive versus a Rumble, versus a Jace, versus a Jax, a champ that's actually strong, you're going to get smoked. So it's really important that you play this champ with more consistent baseline, kind of more like a Gwen. Gwen, you don't play like a full psycho. Camille, you don't play too psychotic. More like that. You need to have a consistent baseline on this champ. You can't just try to fully send it, solo kill your opponent 5 times in a row, level 1 to 3, anything like that. It's not going to work out too well.
So a lot of people might be saying, oh, like, as you said, it's sort of getting banned a lot. You've got insanely high ban rate. Do you see that changing over time? Do you think, because that might be why people might be scared to pick her up, this champ up, because it's just very difficult to pick. So what do you think about this whole ban rate thing going on at the moment? Just new champ stuff?
I think the ban rate will go down a bit as people start to learn that it's pretty weak in lane and you can punish it, and how to kite out the passive and play around the ulti and stuff. Because right now people just chuck their CC at you, not expecting the ulti buffer, and they like dog power you, trying to one shot you, and then you come back with passive. So I think it's definitely a case of people don't know how to play into it, and they'll learn as it goes. It's hard to say. I haven't seen a lot of it in lower ranks. I don't know how it's really performing in a bronze game or a gold game, so it does depend there. But I'd say for high rank, the ban rate will start to drop for sure.
And you said that the conversation we had earlier before about you really recommend, you think it's a really good champ, top lane champ. You recommend a lot of people play it. Is that certain ranks? Like, do you think it's like the middle tiers? Do you recommend it for new players? Where does that stand for you?
I would say gold plus is pretty good. Again, I'll need to see it more, but I still believe for below gold, you need to simplify your journey as much as possible. Get on the Garen, get on the set, don't make it too crazy. Because like we saw, this guy's an Emerald player with thousands of games this season on hard champs like Gangplank, like Shaco, and he's still not chaining CCing his abilities well at all, even in the game that's this free that he's playing here. So I would say definitely gold plus. Between gold and emerald, I think it'd be good to pick it up.
And now talking for you, Chippys, like, where do you see Zaahen, like, in your champ? Or is this a champion after this guy, and after you, learn the champion? Are you going to actually keep playing this champ? You're going to add it? Like, I think back to, your Camille days where, Camille got released and you, like, picked up and clicked with Camille very early on. Like, where do you see Zaahen, like, if you were to, like, try hard and actually climb, really high in Korean solo queue? Where would this champ suit for you?
Good question, because next season I am planning a try-hard climb, not just playing purely for guides. And I feel like I want to keep him on my pool as of right now. But because the new season is very snowball heavy, with the new quest and everything like that, I might have to test him first, because he's not that strong early game. But next season, it's a very fast-paced, snowball heavy game. So I'd say, champs that are a bit stronger early game, I might need instead. But as of right now, if the game was the same, I definitely would play him long-term.
Do you think the Adakan removed, like, it's another less subjective fight to go towards? It hurts Zaahen a little bit?
I guess not too bad, because Baron's back to 20 minutes, and that's a really impactful objective too. It's mainly the quest, the speed in which you get your quest, accelerated XP, stuff like that. So if you can snowball early and get plates and get free hits on towers, those champs are going to have more value. And Zaahen, you don't really do that. You saw even versus that Cho'Gath, I could never, even he was like 0-5, I couldn't just walk up and hit the tier 2 in front of him. So champs that have more options like that, like Fiora and Jax, I think will be a bit stronger.
All right, awesome, Chippys. Well, that wraps up our episode today. Obviously, Chippys, you're the head coach of our Top Lane Academy and We Teach League. So if anyone wants to get coached by Chippys or any other coaches and learn Zaahen, you can join in the link description below. Any final comments, shout-outs here, Chippys?
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking to pick up Zaahen, like Nathan mentioned, I'd strongly recommend joining the TLA. We have a lot of players playing him at the moment, all trying to figure it out, so you'll be on the same page as them.
And yeah, hopefully, you said you want to coach the Zaahen players. There's not many in the Top Lane Academy right now, so, let's join up, get some games in, and then, we can get into the details there.
We have some players playing him, but they're too scared to bring in that coaching VOD, so you might be one of the first. Let's see it.
Well, hopefully this video helps a lot of the people get more confidence with the champion, because I think the champion, again, has very clear reference words, especially if that gold plus. I think it's a fantastic champ.
Definitely.
All right, good work, guys. Let's keep on improving. We'll see you guys on our next episode.
See ya.